Go. All right, we're gonna start this meeting at. Well, it's 5:59, so a minute early. January, 14th. All right, can I get roll call?
President Dowling,
Present.
Vice President Bell,
Here.
Treasurer Pruitt,
Here.
Director Thompson,
Here.
Director Foster.
Here.
All right, and can we all rise for the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen.
Close that note. Somebody can roll out. Okay. So, moving right on to public comment. Members of the public may provide comments to the board on items that are not on the agenda. We welcome and encourage your comments as the board takes them into consideration in our deliberations. Okay. Speakers are limited to a maximum of 3 minutes. The board may not respond to, discuss, or engage in any type of dialogue regarding any public comment. However, the president may direct questions to staff for later response or future consideration by the board. Appropriate and respectful language and behavior is vital to the functioning of a public meeting. We ask that the board, staff, and members of the public to speak courteously and respectfully. Therefore, the board prohibits disruptive behavior. Any public comment? No. Okay, moving along. Or did we have one there? Or there's, we don't have an online meeting, do we just have people attending? How's that work?
No, there's some people that have jumped on. There's Sue, Michael, and Harlan Heimberger.
Gotcha, okay. But nobody had their hand raised for public comment or anything?
None.
Okay. All right, moving right along to the consent agenda. All items listed on the consent agenda are routine in nature and may be approved by one motion. So we have the approval of the agenda, the approval of December 10th regular board meeting minutes, and receive and file combined financial reports for November of 2025. That is it.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
Can I make a comment afterwards?
After, we vote?
Yeah, that's okay. On disbursement. I mean, I'm in favor of everything.
Okay,
Where do I make the comment now?
Well, discussion.
No. yeah, it's usually first, second, and then discussion usually, but
Okay.
yeah, if you want to make it, if it's just a public comment, more or less.
It's a real simple one. It's regarding the disbursement. I just wanted to change it. Where, is Mid-America, I see Mid-America isn't charging anymore. At least they haven't been in the disbursement for 2 months. Are they still around? Are we still working with them?
Yeah, so we load the account and in the last for several months, we try to load it quarterly.
Oh, okay. That's all I wanted.
Okay, perfect. All right, all in favor?
I-
Aye. No opposed. All right, moving on. All right, operation action items, the annual organizational meeting, which is tonight, pursuant to policy 5010.50, the board will elect a president, vice president, and treasurer from among its members. Recommended action, elect president, vice president, treasurer, and appoint the board clerk and ex officio secretary.
I'd like to nominate Chief Dowling as the president.
Do we have any other nominations?
Who?
Chief. I know,
Okay.
yes.
So we have a nomination and a second. Okay, do we just run that? We don't do public comment on this one, do we? We just go with the board on this, right?
It's an agenda item. You probably should ask for public comment.
Okay, public comment? Nope, coming back. Any further board comment?
No.
Nope. Okay, roll call vote?
Vice President Bell,
Yes.
Treasurer Pruitt.
Yes.
Director Thompson,
No.
Director Foster,
No.
President Dowling.
Yes,
Motion carries 3-0. I'm sorry, 3-2.
3-2. That would be 3-2. All right, and then do we vote for the vice president and the treasurer as well, right? Or
Yes.
do we appoint those?
Yes, a nomination
Sure.
and a vote.
All right, I'll nominate, Director Bell to be vice president again. Public comment? Nope, coming back. Any other board comment? No? All right, roll call vote again, please.
Vice President Bell,
Yes.
Treasurer Pruitt,
Yes.
Director Thompson,
Yes.
Director Foster,
Yes,
and President Dowling.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
All right, and is there anybody, particularly, does anybody, look for the treasurer position? Diane, were you interested in doing any of that?
No.
Ron?
I'll do it.
And then, so I nominate Ron Thompson to be the treasurer.
I second it.
Public comment? Okay, coming back. Any other board comment? No? Okay, roll call vote.
Yes.
No public comment. Roll call vote. Vice President Bell,
Yes.
Treasurer Pruitt,
Yes.
Director Thompson,
Yes.
Director Foster,
Yes,
President Dowling.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Perfect. And then, board clerk, and right now I'm going to, because we don't have a new board secretary or board, any of that stuff yet, so I'm gonna still appoint, Hank to be the board clerk and ex officio secretary at this time. And then we need appointment of standing committee members. So pursuant to policy 4060.30, the board president shall appoint members of the planning committee and finance committee. Board president to appoint committee members. Did you guys like the planning commission and the finance commission the way it's set up, or
Sure,
Diane, did you want to
okay
be
with
with the finance commission this year?
no, I'll stay with the planning.
You want to stay with planning?
Yeah.
Ron, same with you?
Well, he wasn't on either one, I don't think.
No, he was on you guys were on the planning commission, they were on the finance.
No,
I wasn't on anything last
he
year.
wasn't on anything.
You were just on it by yourself?
No, I think I was, no,
No, I wasn't on anything.
I don't know who else was with me, but I know I was on it.
Okay.
He wasn't, I know that.
Because Director Bell didn't want to be secretary anymore. And I didn't want anything.
Okay, well, so I'm gonna appoint Roger Pruitt and Mark Bell as the finance committee, and then Director Thompson, and Director Foster as the planning commission. Committee.
Wait, who's on the planning commission?
It's you and Ron.
Oh, did you want to be on the planning commission?
I'll do
Oh, he didn't ask me.
I'm tell it.
Oh, you're telling him. Oh, okay, you're telling.
You're it.
The Presidente has
spoken.
All right, moving right along, into our board member action items. Review and consider action regarding proposal for finance manager services, including selection of proposal or extension of the response period. This was actually, we messed up on this because it's still open and it's doesn't close till January 30th for us seeking finance manager.
But is there any resumes that have come in though?
There has been a few more that have come in.
So wait a minute, if we're gonna discuss it, we need to discuss it. If you're gonna take it off the agenda, that's.
Yeah, I'm not gonna take it off the agenda.
Okay, so we're gonna
Yes,
discuss it.
Just discuss. Just because she was asking about it.
No, no, no,
And,
yeah,
yeah,
that's fine.
just, so there has been a few more people that have come in.
Can you pass them on to us?
Kim, what can we do with that?
Well, that's what you did the last time. You just passed them on.
Well, that was because they were on the agenda. I don't know how that works. Vance, how can,
Next time?
what's that?
Board
Yeah, we can
packet
do it with the
next
board packet, I know.
Yeah, you can do that, or you can do it individually.
Can we just do it individually? Just,
Yeah. you
okay,
can
just
do it
send them
individually.
what we have? Okay, then we'll do that.
Yeah. So you'll be sending them like this week or next week?
Yeah, I'll try to, yeah,
Okay, thank you.
try to get to it.
Okay, that's very good. Okay.
Yeah, so that's all we have for that.
Well, I do have a comment.
What's that?
I've noticed that the, on our, that the finance manager position is not posted on our website. It hasn't been for weeks. And I wondered why.
Hank, do you have any answer to that?
At the last meeting, the board was pretty specific where to post it. The board directed staff to post it on California Special Districts, Auburn Journal, Forest Hill Messenger, Indeed, and the Municipal Management Association of Northern California. So that's where it was posted. The board made it very specific. If you recall, there was some discussion and some changing and some additions, some consideration of another site, and that would have been LinkedIn. And the board directed staff to post it at those. That's where I posted it.
Yeah, and give me just a second here, Diane. Since this is an action item and we just do this and say, I'll make a motion to, also post it to our website and LinkedIn.
I second that.
Well, that's just a directive, you don't have to.
Well, I mean, it was on the action item, might as well do it.
Well, I mean, you don't need a motion, you can just direct it out.
Public comment? Nope, coming back,
Give me those again.
LinkedIn and our website.
Okay.
Any further board comment?
Yes, I have. We have one, we have actually three now, don't we? And three,
They go to Chase.
What are you asking?
we have three people that have applied for it now.
We have more.
We have more than that.
Yeah.
I think it was about 5.
There was, yeah, I think at the last meeting there was that.
Yeah, I think so.
More than
Yeah.
that, something.
Well, I know we have a local one, you know that, right?
It's in
Her name
there,
is Lori.
there's applications in there. I think I've seen one that's
Do
local.
we get to look at them?
Oh, well, that's what Diane was just asking, that's why I asked.
Right?
Council that was that, all that, because I'm not sure, I didn't know if they had to go out in like the board packet for everybody to see, I wasn't sure on that, so, yeah. Apparently we can, so yes.
Well, she's local, she could come up the office and do with
Anyways, is there any other, board comment?
Oh, motion,
Okay, roll call vote, please.
Vice President Bell,
yes?
Treasurer Pruitt,
yes,
Director Thompson,
yes,
Director Foster,
Yes.
President Down,
Yes.
5-0. Motion carries.
Moving along. To our next,
Before you leave that one, I did want to discuss a little bit for the finance manager position. I know this is not the time to decide, but certainly we can talk more about some of the promotion science and stuff that's out. Let's take a look at. Do that one here. Yes. So might as well go through them one at a time. So this is, accountant hours per month. Just a reminder, I have this ongoing spreadsheet that I go
Wait
through.
a minute, I'm confused. What is this under? On the.
We are under.
this is still under that finance manager.
Oh, okay, got
Oh, just another idea, you need to, if we're gonna pick a finance manager, we need to have in mind what we're doing and where we are and why. And so, just a reminder, I have this kind of ongoing spreadsheet going where I take a look at each invoice and put the costs, for, accounting, for doing the service. And, for also separating that by year end. And then depending upon who's working on the project, I separate that as well. And so this is, the account for service hours, per month. And it shows that back to the beginning of, that fiscal year, there's like 3 months before that where it was just barely in motion. And you can see that, there's a pretty definitive, reduction in the amount of time that is being spent on doing the, routine service of our account. And then there's a fairly faint reddish line that goes across at about 50 hours, which is about what, Roger Carroll was doing for us. Now, he
That was
did
per
more,
month, correct, right?
these are hours per month.
Yeah.
And of course, he's doing more for us than just the accountant, but you can see that, they were spending a lot more time and now they're significantly under. I have another one, unless somebody has any comments about that one.
Any questions from our audience?
yes, I have them. So at the 23 end of it, you want to have a allocation?
This is all LSL.
Well, and this is for this last year, what fiscal year was it?
It's, looks like it's from 23 through current.
Yeah, so in the
It
beginning,
looks like July of 23.
Okay, and you know that I had already calculated that if LSL does about 14 hours, a month, And that- a month. 14 and Roger used to do 4 hours. So
I think you had that grossly wrong there, maybe recent.
he did 4 hours a month. I mean, I'm sorry, 4 days a month.
Well, so
Wait, okay, he would do 4 days a month and how many days? 14 days for LSL, that's what I have, yes. So, almost 3-4 times more than Roger did, the hours that LSL spends on our stuff.
Well, you can see, so once again, this is looking at accountant only, I'll be looking at the other parts here shortly. And in the beginning, yeah, they were up there, I mean, there's a peak there at around, 110 hours. In a month, that's a lot of fun. It takes a while to get used to something, and that's something I guess we should certainly look at for this. If we pick somebody else, they're gonna go through the same learning curve, where it's gonna take them, I don't know, a year, maybe, or more to be able to,
start reducing costs.
start reducing costs, yeah, so it's gonna be our share at the beginning. And so the other one I handed out. So this is, same thing, starting the same period, April 23. The tail end of it has no data because it actually goes out to June, so you can just keep adding stuff in. And then it shows, the monthly counting, how much we spent, in a month. And that also, you can see got kind of higher and then went down. There's 2 lines that I have there. One of them is the, 6-month running average, so each point on there represents that point and the 5 previous as an average. And so now that average for monthly accounting is down to under 8,000 a month. So that's doing pretty doggone good. And then the upper green line is how much it has cost us for the entire year. So it's not an average, it's almost the entire year. And that uses the scale on the right. So that last one, based on the December time, is right about 95,000. So our whole year is $95,000 for monthly accounting. Anybody, any questions on that one?
Diane, I did have a question, you, not necessarily for you, Mark, but would you be able to email me the numbers that you had for the accounting and what you had? Just, the next week.
No, I actually did an Excel one, I've got it.
If you could send that to me.
I will, yeah,
Thank you.
I will do that.
Anybody got any other questions for Mark? No,
So what your graph is showing,
I guess we do have.
what your graph is showing for example, money on, say at the end, December 25th. Well, let me coordinate it, let's go to November. November would be about, 50,000.
So if you're looking at the November blue bar, that's the monthly, and that goes to the axis on the left, and so that's about, let's say, 5,000.
They don't follow you.
So if you're looking at November 25, which means November of 2025, based on the bottom. It's the last blue bar on the chart. To the right, below. The last one to the right. Is that where you were looking? I'm sorry.
I was looking at that little line.
No, I'm looking at November 25.
Yeah, I'm sorry, December is the last one, so it's the one just left at November.
What I have here is the check register for November.
So that will not agree,
Saying it's about $50,000.
so those will not agree.
Huh?
Those will not agree, because as I said, I'm basing this on invoices. And which gives us the month in which they provided the support. Invoices, they could have 3 or 4 invoices at once. I think, I've seen at least 2 paid at once. So that could easily be 2 months. It may also include more than monthly accounting. This is only monthly accounting.
Well, the cash disbursement, LSL October accounting assistance, the audit, it's $10,102.
Okay, so that's not monthly service,
Why?
that's
No.
your in. So that wouldn't be here.
And on the disbursement for November, that's the only one that's being shown paid in November. Why? But
So-
you pay,
So,
you pay LFL twice a month.
So the one thing that I'm, and I know LSL is, they're our current finance manager, right? So, and this has some validity to it, but what I'm trying not to do is get too much into the weeds tonight. And I appreciate what you've provided for us here, Mark, because it really does, give some good stuff. But what we're still going through, trying to receive more, applications. So all this stuff could be, discussed once we have all those final applications and we're actually going through the hiring process, in my opinion.
I agree, but the reason I wanted to do it tonight is that way we have a little longer to think about it,
Yes,
take that stuff, take it home, because I think this is something that it may be a little bit harder than a 5-minute thought process
Mhm.
to kind of glean what these things are saying.
I appreciate you bringing this stuff forward, Mark, no, I really do. I just didn't, like I said, I don't wanna get too much, because we're gonna, now that I know what you're heading towards, that makes sense. I just didn't wanna get too much into the weeds tonight, just so we're not, over
So
talking.
we're gonna wait till the February meeting because it ends January 30th, right?
Yes.
So before I leave
And
this,
everything comes
Hold on,
out.
let's just go back through.
if she has a comment, it's fine. Before we leave the chart, I want to make sure that you caught that the 6-month line is meanders a little bit more, but it went down from the beginning. And the year total one has gone down, considerably, from, a little over 140,000 to 95,000. So costs are gone down. If we go with somebody else, that's gonna be, the same kind of issue. And we could certainly look at these costs for how we would go forward. Diane, you had a question?
Yeah, well, not a question, I just had a comment. First of all, I don't agree that it would take, a person and, like a person in the office to take as long as LSL did to get up to speed, because they'll be in the office and they'll have access to all this stuff. Well, anyway, but the thing I wanted to mention was, okay, so we get the resumes by the 30th. And then we talked about it in our next February meeting. Is that when we'll decide how we're going to pick the person, or when do we, what's the, how do you do that? And how do we go about doing that, or what are we gonna do to pick the person in the February meeting? We're not gonna pick that person then, right?
Well, so from my understanding, and,
Yeah.
somebody correct me if I'm wrong here, because I've never been part of a hiring process like
Me
this.
either,
so,
yeah. me either.
From my understanding of it, I believe we'll meet in February to close the, and accept the candidates that we had at that time, and then we would have to go into probably, I think there's gonna be some closed session, to then go through the candidates at that time.
Oh, okay,
And then, so then we're gonna have to do some closed session stuff after our February meeting to go through that and work all that out.
We'll
So-
decide that in March.
no, February.
Well, we gotta do closed session up until then, so, we'll probably end up having to have a special meeting, I'm sure, and then do closed session and that.
So can we get all of these resumes so we can.
Yeah, that's, we just have,
Or,
yes,
He's gonna do that
Yeah.
next this week, or.
yeah, within
as
the
they
next,
come in.
I'm gonna
As
try
they
to
come
do.
in.
any
Yeah.
other ones that come in after that, they'll
Yeah.
report it over.
Yeah.
Okay,
So in other words, by March, we should be able to, we've gone through all this process, we should be able to have somebody picked in March, right?
Depending, I mean, that would be,
How the resumes.
and how, if, special meetings and stuff like how all that stuff goes, so,
Okay,
I mean, that would be the aim.
all right, that sounds.
Okay,
Okay, one more?
one more graph.
Nope.
No, not
Data.
Data.
Okay, so, it's from that same spreadsheet. And it shows two basic, groups of data here, one for monthly hours and 1 year end hours. And so we just start with monthly hours by service month. It starts again from July and goes down through December. And we see that the accountant hours are there, and that's the hours that I gave you the chart of. But we also have management hours and partner/director hours in there. And the same thing is true for the year-end hours, and you can see we don't have year-end closing all the time, so it's not frequent. It's not throughout outside of a month, but the same sort of thing exists. We have the accountant, which is a senior accountant, and then we have management and partner director. So the point I was trying to make here, and in fact, I think even Diane, one of our prior meetings pointed this out too, is that there is more than one person working for us here. We have at least 3, perhaps 4 off and on. And that level of response is needed. We have an accountant is our lowest one, not a bookkeeper. So if you had a bookkeeper, you could have a bookkeeper and then you have accountant and then management. But the lowest one we currently have from LSL is an accountant. And then we have 2 levels at least over that. And that's what's necessary to service our account, is that kind of depth of knowledge. And that's what Roger had. I mean, he was an extremely high-up person. You know, he was the finance manager for Loomis, a very lofty position, and we were really lucky to have him. Certainly lucky to have him at the rate we had him, and very, very hard to replace. And this shows how hard it is to do something like that. That was it.
All right.
Any questions? Thank you for the time.
Thank you.
There's a public comment online.
Well, public, we're not voting on anything.
You want to take it or you want to move on?
So actually, we don't usually take public comment unless we're voting on something,
Okay.
But I think we should.
unless it's in public comment.
Well, let's listen to them. Whoever it is.
Like we don't usually, like, so if somebody usually has their hand up right now, we don't usually take, unless we're voting on something or doing, we just went through that and now we're done.
Yes.
I mean, it's just, because usually you try to do it in public comment, and that's why I would keep the meeting streamlined. That's just the way we've always done it, and that's what I've always done in every other meeting. Never had that happen, to be totally honest.
Well, it says public comment, right, doesn't it say that on my thing? Yes, it does, public comment, right there, it's on number 1. I mean,
Typically we don't, yeah, I've never,
well, it's on there, it's on our agenda. I think we should take a public comment.
Well, there is any.
Well,
However,
there
how many
is.
public comments are there?
so when it goes back to
just
the
see
agenda, it says recommended action. We've taken no action.
There's still a public comment, come on, that's not fair to close out the public.
How many are there?
Just one.
Just one? Yeah, let's go ahead and do it.
Sorry about that. I just wanted to point out when you guys hire a finance manager, you will be saving all of LSL's bill because the required yearly audit, the finance manager gives Rams every document that they need, and the finance manager presents it to the board, where you just paid $50,000 for LSL to provide those documents, and it was $6,000 for them to present it to you. That's part of the finance manager's job. So all of those costs would go away. That's all I wanted to say. It sounded like Mark wanted to separate it, but the $200,000 you're paying LSL would go away if you hire a finance manager. Thanks.
Thanks, Sue. All right. Moving along, Director Foster requests the approval for hiring an independent attorney to perform an assessment regarding the negotiation process related to the development of the GM's 2024 employment contract for an amount not to exceed $5,000. Diane?
Yeah, now with this agenda item, I asked for 2 attachments to be passed out in the agenda packet, and I'm wondering why they weren't in there.
Was there 2 attachments?
Yes, there were, and I have a copy at home that proves it. And since I wonder why that, I understand why Hank wouldn't do it, but I'm not sure about you. Why didn't you
Oh, I just see here.
pass these?
Were these part of the,
Well, that's what I sent in.
well, there was that one
There were
attachment,
2.
there was
There were
attachments,
2.
yeah.
And I've got a copy at home that proves
Is that,
it.
are these the attachments?
Yeah, Yeah, so that's what, so what I've got here is two.
Which one, what's this one for?
That one is a copy of August 14th, 2024.
Oh, okay, this is that,
It's
the agenda packet for that.
Yeah,
Okay.
and they were supposed to be in the packet, and it wasn't there, and I'm not happy that
Yeah,
it
well, actually,
wasn't,
did you get one of those?
because I was very specific. So anyway, what you have here is the, I Googled about what happens, how serious is it that, somebody secretly negotiates an employee contract? So that's what the first one is. The second one I'll explain later. At our December meeting, I informed the board that at our last August 2025, I uncovered documentation proving the negotiation process regarding the 2024 GM contract renewal was flawed. 2 board members were secretly negotiating the general manager's contract and made no contact with the remaining 3 board members prior to the production of the finalized contract they were asked to sign on October 9th board meeting, 2024. The negotiation committee corresponded with the FPUD attorney regarding negotiations on 5 separate occasions between August 14th and October 9th board meeting. This violates the Brown Act, and there is every indication that the general manager's contract is invalid because that negotiation team never got back to the full board. After the December board meeting, Hank White sent a memo dated December 17th, this was just a few weeks ago, to all board members explaining that the negotiation process was done properly and stated that in August 14th, 2024 board meeting, quote, the board directed directors Bell and Kappelhoff along with Vance Pigot to negotiate an extension of the employment contract. The minutes reflecting this action were subsequently approved by a 5-0 vote, unquote. That's what you have. You have those minutes, and I'll challenge any of you to find a 5-0 vote in those minutes. It doesn't exist. So that was not true. Please look at the back of the copy, and I just gave it to you. It's on page 4, number 5, agenda. You will find no written discussion, no motion, and no 5-0 vote authorizing Bell and Kappelhoff to serve on a negotiation committee. I was at the meeting. I was in the audience, just like these people were. And so was June Stoller and Ron Thompson. They were directors at the time. And we can all confirm there was no negotiation committee discussed. I have complained at previous meetings that minutes are not always accurate, and that's a perfect example. If you refer to the other page I gave you, it points out that what happened is a serious violation and a breach of duty and trust for any board member to act outside the collective authority of the board. I take the position that the general manager's 2024 contract, contract extension is null and void. So what I'm asking is that the board approve money to get an independent attorney in here to do an assessment. And yeah, that's what I want done.
Roger?
Think it's a waste of money myself, waste of time, but you know, we're gonna do some witch hunting, have at it.
I have a comment.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go down the line. I'll go through there.
So I see which she's passed out here, and the only difference I think I see is I heard that there was a motion and a vote. I don't see that, but I do see the board took action. The board announced that Bell, Kappelhoff, and Peugeot will negotiate an extension. So I think that meets the requirement of saying that we have an ad hoc committee. And that's what my memory goes with, and this ad hoc committee would come back, and that would have been within the auspices of what we're allowed to do. I don't see anything here. This is the wrong month to see where the board voted on it. But I believe that was in that memo also, and the board did vote and accepted the contract. So it seems to be totally within the auspices of what we can do and what would be legal. As far as hiring somebody else to take a look at it, I should say, first of all, I think the last time we were here, that said it was legal. We probably had to ask him what his opinion is sitting here. But I see no reason to waste the district money to go out and get another legal opinion if we've already gotten them to go with. So I don't see any reason to spend our money.
Ron?
Yes, I have something. In that meeting, that we had when the contract private in closed session. Jane, there's an August one, excuse me, in the August one, concerning that, she said to Vance that we would like to look for a GM that would be more suitable to the district. Is that not correct?
I'm not gonna talk about things that happen in closed session and their attorney-client privilege. If you wanna share
That was said. There was no committee formed. And what they did, we're supposed to go out and look for another GM and report back to the board. They did not. There was nothing. The next thing we know is they're negotiating with two attorneys on Hank's contract on his side. They weren't representing the district, they were representing Hank. That's my complaint.
I have a comment too.
Mhm.
I'd like to ask Mark a question. Mark,
Mhm.
did you or Peter, after those 5 sessions with Vance or whoever you're working with on regarding the contract, did you ever report back to the full board?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes,
You did?
yes.
You did not.
We didn't.
We didn't even know you were a committee. Until you declared it in, billable hours.
So here's something that, coming back now, because I don't want to get into finger pointing here. So, Vance, what is your take on this with this contract in this situation?
Yeah, so the full process, and I think the reason why the action item in the August minutes says that the board announced is because that was a decision made in closed session. There was a closed session item also for discussing the appointment of a general manager. So out of that closed session was the announcement and that the board had selected Mark, Peter and I to negotiate with Hank for a successor contract. So, and Mark, I think, touched on bringing it back to the board, and this is the way it typically works. Closed session, you're allowed to meet with your negotiators. The negotiators there being Mark, Peter and I. Idea being, it doesn't make sense to have the entire board trying to negotiate a contract with somebody, right? Then you have to only do it at board meetings. That process can just take forever. Diane pointed out, we spoke 5 times in between meetings to expedite the process. It was brought back to the board in open session. The contract was included in, the full contract was included in the agenda. The entire board was permitted to vote. There was a discussion about the terms of the contract. So I think that's probably Mark's point. And it was brought back to the full board. It was presented to the board for an open session item and it was voted on there. That is required, and I understand the analysis here that secretly negotiating an employee contract is not appropriate. This was not secret, and that one, the board voted on a committee, and I'm using the term loosely, not like you just appointed committees. We selected a group of individuals that's less than a quorum of the board, so it's not an action, right? To negotiate. So that, from my perspective, it says secretly negotiated. It was not secretly negotiated. They were done outside of board meetings to move that process along, and then the final contract was brought back. Clearly, the Brown Act does require that final contracts be approved in an open meeting, and that's why it was brought back at the December meeting, or
It would have been November, because
November.
December is when Diana and I got on.
October.
Or October, yeah, it'd have been before, it'd been before.
oh, the October.
It was voted on by the board, by the full board in October, so before.
I have a comment one time.
Give it just a second, I'm still, so is,
Yeah, so that's really all that I have is it was 2 pieces.
okay,
First, the board did take action as reflected in the minutes to appoint individuals, the primary points of contact to negotiate the fine points of the contract. The contract's not final then and had no effect. Nobody signed it. It had no bearing until it was brought back to the full board for approval at that open meeting.
okay. Ron?
Yes, that is correct. But what happened was Jane asked in closed session and Eric answered, she asked can we make changes? And Eric said no, and that's a violation of the law, actually, in section 5040. Which says actions of the board of directors include, but are not limited to the following: adoption or rejection of regulations or policies, adoption or rejection of resolution, adoption or rejection of an ordinance, approval or rejection of a contract or expenditure. You violated this when you brought that. And that what happened is that contract was presented to us in closed session and was passed in closed session. We never even got a copy of it. We never even got to read it. And then it went to open session, and Peter Koppelhoff and Mark and Pruitt okayed it without even reading it. That is not right. We were never given any time to read the contract. And since then I read that contract. It's idiotic. How could anybody do that to a district? It tells me, I'm not done yet, it tells me that you guys weren't working for the district. You were working for an employee, of which I'm going to, in February, bring up on the agenda that I want reimbursement for $31,000 for the attorney fees back to the board. This is wrong. They're not your attorneys, they're ours. Don't use them like they're yours.
I have a comment also. I'd like to say something. What I'd like to ask Mark is, you said that you shared the information with the negotiation with the full board. Can you tell me when that happened? Where's the documentation that you did that? When did you meet with the board to share with them the things that you and Peter talked to Vance about for those 5 sessions? When did you do that? Where's the documentation?
I believe, as we already heard, the documentation is in the board packet for that meeting. The final contract is there. It's not like we had this presentation of, oh, we talked about this, we met 15 times.
Supposed to.
Hold on, then give him just a second.
We were set to negotiate a contract. We did that. We were not tasked with, come back with intimate details of every word you said, which would have been inane.
No, you were supposed to.
So we came back with a contract. That's what we're
That's
supposed.
not how it's working.
Okay, now
That's not
we're
how
gonna
it's
get,
done.
hold
I have
on.
one James Stoller with the Klein all okay. She was there.
Okay, now, I understand that, Rob. What a lot of people are missing here, what I'm picking up from this conversation, just to take the temperature down here, is when there's a board of 5 people, which we are, right? There's always going to be an imbalance of one side to the other. There's gonna be a 3-2 vote on a lot of things. Which, yeah, which they do. From what I'm hearing is, it sounds like there was a 3-2 vote and they didn't take change, but I have to research this a little bit more, in my opinion. Just curious, Vance, would you be open to having somebody investigate your process in which your guys' firm did?
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, I think that this was, I had suggested, if there's concerns about what we did, that would be the appropriate way for you all to look into it. I'm more than happy to discuss the process, and I can provide the board with a legal analysis as to why we did things the way we did. But I'm not the right person to ask whether I did something right.
Right.
Right, and nobody in my firm would be the right person to ask
100%.
if I did something right. So that was my not suggestion so much as if the board decided that this needed to be looked into, it should be done by somebody other than me. And not
And
the right person.
I have a comment. It was your idea
Which one?
Yeah, it was.
maybe we should hire.
Yeah, look into it.
Yeah,
that's-
it was your
Okay,
idea.
I'm looking at,
Our idea came from.
yeah, no, so
Yeah.
that's what I believe, because these are some of these things you want to look into that right now. That's why I'm going to see if he was open to that. To that
I
suggestion.
really appreciate.
Me
that.
personally,
Yeah.
I want to,
This needs to be resolved. There's no way brands about it needs to be done.
I agree with that. But I don't feel comfortable still at this meeting yet I don't feel like I have enough information to vote on that yet. So that's my suggestions. So with that said, I would like to make a motion to.
Wait, before you make the motion, I wanna know what more information you want.
I just want to go out to the constituency and see if this is something that we really should be pursuing.
You,
That's-
you mean the public?
You wonder why?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm my own director, I can do that.
Mr. President.
No, I mean, the public doesn't know, what you're going out to the public and telling them that Mark, that there's an accusation that Mark secretly did a ballot, and so, secretly did a negotiation, so you're gonna go out to the public and mention this? And so it's to get people,
I'm gonna go ask some, and I'm gonna go ask some people, and I'm gonna do some more research before I okay on this, but I still, like, you guys might be comfortable with this, with the way it sits right now. And that's fine, you can be that comfortable with it, I'm not here, but I'm also not comfortable with dismissing it.
Explain why.
yeah, that's
Because
okay with it.
Because I
Not
still
my
wanna know,
To be fair.
I still wanna know if people are okay with us spending $5,000, and not only that, before we start that plan. Of the district's money to be there, but what is the proper process to do this, and what would it look like, and what's the actual? So that's what I really wanna look into.
Well, I've
So-
already looked at it.
So with that's fine, and I'm glad you feel
Would you like
comfortable.
to hear it?
Diane, I'm glad you feel comfortable with it. I do not yet.
I'm
So-
still having a problem with you going into the public and telling them all this, and then mentioning that, you aren't going to be able to tell the public everything that what we're discussing right
You
now.
have full session.
Yeah,
The man said you can't
you're
reveal.
gonna say that.
No, I'm not gonna say anything.
This is the management right here. We decide.
We're in open session discussing this, right?
I know,
We
but
decide right here.
this information, that doesn't make
That's
Mark
fine,
look very
okay,
good.
and you guys, that's fine, you guys can do that.
Do what?
You guys can think that way, I'm gonna think the way I think.
Okay.
Simple as that.
Well, can I
Sit
mention,
down the road till June, that'll work.
I'm gonna push it till March. It's either that or we vote not to do anything, or we vote to do something right now, and I'm not comfortable with either one of those options, so I'm gonna at least push it till March.
so you're gonna go ask and ask,
That's what I'm gonna ask.
why don't you put it in the messenger and, have a tally or something like that?
Have a town hall or something.
Or
to that
something,
nature. I'm thinking
yeah, do it.
I'm good with, anyways, I'm making a motion to,
Chase, if I could, I
Yeah.
do feel like I need to address one point that Ron made. Because it's a serious point. Attorneys, we have a strict ethical obligation to work only in the interest of our client. Right? And failing to do that is how attorneys get this far. So I do feel like I need to address that. I have made very clear to Hank, even during the negotiation process, I probably recommended to you, and you're gonna say whether or not it's the case, that you hire your own attorney if you want somebody to review the contract on your behalf, because my role is strictly to go through the contract and negotiate at the direction of the board. We made some significant changes from the prior version of the contract, which I felt like were too friendly to Hank. On a number of things, and came back with strong recommendations to the board that those things be changed. I negotiate a lot of contracts. I very well understand my role and who I represent, and I'm very confident that.
and what are those other districts that you represent? Vance?
So a lot of what I do, because it comes up more as I do union negotiations between, so I represent the city of Folsom. I negotiated all 6 of their union agreements, probably $25 million worth of agreements at minimum. There followed a very similar process, attending closed session, coming back for open votes with the board as necessary. I'm negotiating 3 contracts for the city of Manteca. Up and down state of California on both, employment agreements and labor agreements with.
Well, Vance, I really appreciate the fact that you have, felt that it's okay with you if we did the assessment. I appreciate that from you, that, that's, makes me feel good that, it tells me that you're an honest person.
Well, I favor Vance also because that is the right thing to do, bring in somebody who doesn't know anything about it
Yeah,
and make a decision.
neutral decision, yeah.
So with that said, I would like to make a motion.
Chase, can I jump in just so with?
Is everybody gonna stop me right in the middle of my motions?
I just want to make sure you all have the facts. The facts are, a draft document was circulated in the public packet, was delivered to the board a week before the meeting. and was available to the public a week before the August twenty twenty-four meeting. The board decided at that meeting to appoint Directors Bell and Kappelhoff, along with council, to negotiate a final contract. That final contract was presented to the whole board a week before the meeting. It was presented to the public a week before the meeting. The board met in October. They took a vote and the board approved the contract 3-2. There was no secret. Every board member had access to the contract. They had access to the attorney. It was nothing secret whatsoever about the negotiation of that contract. And I just want to say that so you have the facts, because this concept that directors hadn't seen it. I can't say whether they had seen it or not, but it was made available to them.
Okay, so I'm gonna make a motion. Ah, son of a gun.
That's not true. And from now on, in the state, what is it? 54 of 387.2. It says that we are allowed with security to start recording closed sessions. And this is what I'm gonna push on February. We are gonna start recording so we have actual fact.
It's not a bad idea. So with that, I'm gonna make a motion and nobody's stopping me this time to table this item until March's meeting. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay, public comment? Nope, coming back? For the board comment? Nope, roll call please.
You asked for public here, is any public there?
No, is that, yeah, actually, I probably keep forgetting that we have that going. Thank you, Mark.
Shoot. Okay, Vice President Bell,
Yes.
Treasurer Pruitt,
Yes.
Director Thompson,
No,
Director Foster,
No,
President Dowling.
Yes.
Motion carries 3-2.
All right, now we're moving on to our board member policy action items. Consideration and possible adoption of new board policy 5025, agenda format, item submittal, and processing procedure. Discuss the proposed policy and provide direction to staff. So that is going to be. Nope, that's not there. Going to be
Page 19, not page,
here. Right. Okay, so I brought this forward because we do not have a policy like this yet, and so this is just the forward. The FPUD does not currently have a policy that defines how directors may submit agenda items, how items are categorized, the order in which they are heard, or how items advance from future agenda items onto active agendas. In practice, this has created ambiguity, inconsistency in agenda preparation, prioritization, and meeting flow. The proposed policy 5025 establishes a clear, transparent, and Brown Act compliant framework for how agenda items are submitted, processed, scheduled, and heard by the board. This policy is modeled after common practices used by other agencies and tailored for the FPUD's specific needs. And so the purpose of the new policy, structure and four key areas: defines agenda format and meeting flow, establishes a fixed order for meeting section, clarifies how items are heard and carried over, clarifies director submittal requirements, requires a title, description, outcome, and supporting documentation, ensures staff has the information needed to prepare materials, and creates category limits and priority rules, allows each director to submit one priority item per category, limits agendas to 3 items per category to ensure efficient meetings, allows additional items to enter future agenda items without being blocked. And then 4, creates a transparent category queue and advancement system. Items move forward based on first in, first out fairness. Items cannot be indefinitely delayed, clarifies when items may be advanced for legal, fiscal, or emergency needs. Overall intent, this new policy strengthens transparency, ensures that all directors have an equal ability to place items, prevents indefinite suppression, and creates consistent guidance for staff and future boards. So with that, I'm gonna start with you, Roger.
So I think I'm pretty good with what you got going on here.
Okay. Mark?
Well, this is, much better than what it was in the last month. I agree with you, it's very clear, transparent, it provides some missing guidance. I like what we have here.
Ron?
No, I don't agree with it. The way I would do it is take it back to the original 2023, the basic one. This is convoluted. Everybody, there's too many places. You can put these things in 5022. That's,
I think it's 50/20.
50/20. I think.
5020, right, excuse me. It says here, and I don't know if you've read this, but 5020.22, the board president in consultation with general manager shall decide whether the request is or is not a matter directly related to district business.
Mhm.
In determining whether to place the matter on a meeting agenda. The person requesting the agenda addition may submit a request to the board of directors to reconsider an adverse decision. This is the sentence. Any director may request an item be placed on the agenda. There is no limit. This is already here. You can't. It's too convoluted. This is gonna extend the meeting more. It's not gonna shorten it. Shorten it, put it down, discuss it, vote on it. That's how you get things done.
Well, that's your opinion, and I appreciate it.
Well, I understand, but I've said, watched this for a year. We're still looking at the stenographer. It was started in April. For $250 a meeting to transcribe, post the draft. And the next thing I know, we're looking at another employee in the office. For probably $40,000-50,000. That's where the stenographer went. Is to the office. Why? It's a stenographer. It's not.
But
an office
that,
worker, it's just-
we're still working on the board secretary position.
And then the finance manager, we've been trying for that since May of 23.
And it's still open, it's gonna close on.
And it still keep getting pushed back. Nothing's getting done. Decisions have to be made. You could, and there's another one. Right here. 40, 50, 10, the directors shall thoroughly prepare themselves to discuss agenda items at the meeting of the board of directors. To improve the productivity of board meetings, the general manager should be consulted prior to the meetings to clarify any questions and finishing. It's in there. You have to come to the meeting knowing everything that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
You're not prepared, you wanna push this. What is your argument? I wanna go to the public?
I didn't have enough information, I still wanna go more to the public, but that's on that other issue. We're
Yeah,
talking
you
about
had a
this.
chance to read it,
I appreciate it.
so you have no decision, other than to go to the public and see what they want. So the board can't make their decision.
Oh, we will.
Okay, I'm done.
Okay, can you pass this out, please?
Do you want to go on that way? I have four.
He's got one. What he's passing out is a template that I wrote. I actually wrote that template. Yeah. I actually wrote it months ago for the secretary and I've tweaked it. I don't think a new policy was necessary as your proposed 5025.10 through 5025.22 could have been amended to board policy 5020, which is the existing policy, along with an agenda template, which I just gave you. I typed up, which eliminated the convoluting policy steps. I agree with you that there should be something in our board policies that show, because if we get a secretary, she's gonna need to see what we follow, and that's what I wrote, is that so that it could be amended to 5020. As far as an agenda preparation, it falls on the staff and their common sense to organize and put the agenda together. Any doubts? Amber, if you call the director, because I think she's the one that's responsible for the agenda, for clarification, as it's her job. Too many board meetings over the last few months begin with rearranging the agenda items during the meeting when it should have been done prior to printing the ambiguity and inconsistency in agenda preparation. It's the fault of the person preparing the agenda. I object with everything on the proposed policy from 5025.23 and afterwards. Not understanding the rationale behind limiting the agenda items, I decided to revisit last year's board meeting agenda items to see if there was an abuse of some sort in the number of items each director submitted. From my perspective, I found no abuse, but here's what I came up with. December 2024, that's when Jason and I were put on the board. Mark and I submitted one agenda item. Also submitted by an unknown person was board policy 5020 for discussion. No one knows who submitted that. January 2025, I submitted one December follow-up item and one new item. February, Mark submitted one agenda item, and I submitted 3 January follow-up items and 2 new. Mark submitted one, and I submitted 2 February follow-up items and 4 new ones, all related on the issue of providing free insurance. So it was all put together. April, Mark submitted one agenda item and Chase submitted 2 items, one addressing the hire of a secretary, which by the way, we are still discussing 9 months later. May, Chase submitted 2 agenda items. June, one agenda item was submitted for review. The name is missing, but I think it was me. July, Mark submitted 2 agenda items. Do you get the point here? I guess I won't finish it. You get my point that it's not being abused. So all the agenda items that year were legitimate, timely, and not excessive, and do not justify creating an entire new board policy which limits the number of items each director can submit. The issue really is, why are our board meetings so long? It is not based on the number of agenda items submitted, but the divide in opinions of directors. The bigger issue that divides us, we will never agree upon. Some directors like myself feel violating board policy is serious. Some board members seem not to care. Some directors take serious their role of fiduciary oversight and are concerned that hundreds of thousands of dollars are wasted each year. Other board members don't agree. Some members feel the grand jury recommendations should be taken more seriously, and we make an effort to comply. Some directors dismiss it, probably because our general manager has told us that the recommendations are, and it's a quote, benign. And the list goes on. A new board policy is not going to fix serious divide on this board. I also strongly disagree with taking a vote in 2 hours into a meeting to adjourn and carry over remaining agenda items to next month. Currently, progress in accomplishing much to improve the operation of the FPUD is extremely slow. Just look at the fact that we have been trying to hire a board secretary for 9 months and a finance manager for 7 months. Chase's new policy would slow us down even more. Lastly, I am done with going through a policy such as this line by line and looking for a compromise if that's what you guys are going to do. That would be a 2-hour process, which we have experienced in the past, and the perfect illustration as to why our meetings are too long. Our job was to come prepared, and I have done just that. There are no compromises for me on 2025, 23, and beyond. 2025.10 through 2025.22 should be amended into existing policy 5020.
Okay. Just so everybody knows, a lot of other boards, and when I did my research for this policy, a lot of other boards have a policy set forth to actually when people are starting to submit stuff, so nothing gets disorganized, right? And so everybody has, because right now the way it sits within policy 5020, it's really up to the discretion of the general manager and the board chair, right? So which is mine and Hank's position, which is all good at this point, right? But what happens in 4 years from now, if I'm not on the board anymore, or if somebody else, if we're all off this board and we get a board in here that doesn't know how to act and doesn't know how to submit things and other things of that nature. So that's really the reason why I wanted to present this policy and bring it forth. I put a lot of time and effort into it, and I think it's worth it. So, with that said, I'm gonna make a motion to, accept policy 5025.
Could I perhaps ask for minor update to that? To accept it as is in the board packet with formatting changes allowed. So they can be just looking, so it doesn't look exactly like this.
So it doesn't look exactly like this?
It have all the same context, all the same words. But it's just not in the same format as our other policies, that's all. I'm saying.
Oh, the format's a little different.
Yes,
Okay, I get what you're saying. So changing the format would be the only deciding factor then?
Yeah.
Okay. I accept your, second as amended.
yes.
Now, it's, yeah, so
I
same.
don't know if I said second, but yes,
Okay. Did you second that, Mark?
I will. Are you willing to change your?
Yes.
Okay, there we go. Did you get all that, Hank? Because it's rather convoluted now.
It is. I have a motion to adopt policy 50225 with minor formatting changes.
Yes.
Second,
Public comment? Nope. Coming back?
I have a public comment
Oh,
on
there we go.
the.
Keep forgetting.
My concern about this, I know you worked really hard on this, Chase, and I see what you're doing, trying to accomplish, but at the same time, I'm really concerned because you're totally stifling the directors, and the directors are there to represent the ratepayer. And if you can only submit one action item and you're only meeting one time a month, and then you have a time limit where it's going to carry over to the next meeting, I think you're stifling the ratepayers' representation in the board meeting, and it really concerns me. And that's all I got to say. It's very concerning.
Thanks, Sue.
And I would also say too, is that I would not allow myself to be restricted with the parameters that you've given, I just won't do it. I will submit what I submit, if I think that's something, it's timely manner for our constituents, I'm gonna submit it, and I will not be limited to what I can submit every month.
That's fine.
You know, it's not fine, because you wanna pass something that says that we're limited.
We have a motion on the floor still. So with that said, coming back, is there any other board member comment?
Yes, I'm in favor of this one. It's simple. We can all do it. And it's done. It's simple for staff. Just you do it. That way you can start pumping out one by one, get these things done. Instead of, well, we're gonna have another discussion over next March. We'll do this in March.
Diane?
This is the simple one.
No, I think I've said everything I'm gonna say.
I'm in favor of this.
All right, with that said, roll call vote, please.
Vice President Bell,
yes.
Treasurer Pruitt,
Yes,
Director Thompson,
No,
Director Foster,
No?
President Dowling.
Yes.
Motion carries 3-2.
Yeah, but I'm still gonna submit my items.
And now we're moving on to,
I kind of think it's illegal too, by the way.
you can pick that. That's
well, I
fine.
know it is because
Yeah, I think it is.
right here. In 40-50, any director could put something on there.
Yeah, that's right, you would have to
It's
change that.
restricted.
I didn't, that's not,
It's not restricted.
no,
Then why didn't you put in only board one agenda item?
they can still go on to the future.
Yeah,
We're done discussing this.
there you go.
So it can still go on to the future agenda. So it's still on the agenda.
We've got so much future now.
And we're still getting through it. So anyways, consider revised job description for customer service representative 2 position. Direct staff accordingly. I believe this is you, Hank, what we directed you to do in November, or was that December? That was November, wasn't it? To bring one,
November, the board asked that, the job description be updated, rated 1 per month. This is the second one, it's the customer service representative 2. The existing, job description is in the board packet, and the proposed revise is also.
all right, Roger? Mark?
Well, I went through the two and compared them. I commend Hank on the changes. It looks really good. Looks like it was updated in several areas, clarified, a few things here and there. I think this looks good.
Ron?
No comment. No.
Diane?
Yeah, I think it's good too. I really think this was better than the last one that he did, but I have one question, and that's to Hank. Hank, the Mid-America, company, and for people that don't know what that is, it's, well, maybe Hank would explain better, but it's a company that we pay money into, and they monitor our retirees' health benefits, because we give free health benefits to retirees, and we have, I think, 2 or 3. So, but Hank, who actually monitors that in the office? What person? Because I didn't see anything like that in the job descriptions. Who monitors Mid-America?
I do an accounts payable. LSL monitors the activity and puts it into our general ledger.
Okay, the reason I ask is because, and Hank knows that I looked into Mid-America months ago. And I found that when I called Mid-America, they didn't know that two of the people on their list are dead. They're your wife's relatives, Henry's, they're dead. And yet Mid-America didn't know that. And I had to tell them. And that's why I'm wondering, well, who tells them this stuff, that somebody passes away? Who's looking? So you're saying you do? I mean, how does that work if somebody passes away and Mid-America is not told?
It's a complicated issue. I'm surprised that Mid-America, I don't really know what the question is. We have an account, and so expenditures come out of those funds for qualified retirees. And Mrs. Henry passed away. There's been no expenditures, and so it's really, I don't know what to say to you. I don't know.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is that somebody should have told Mid-American just so that they didn't have them on the list anymore. You know, I mean,
Okay,
doesn't
sure.
that make sense?
That might be how you would do it. I see that you would probably do things differently.
Well, I think they deserve to know, Mid-America, and I know Mr. Henry passed away a long time, years prior to his wife, but this just seems like that's just not, I mean, something should be, I don't know, it just doesn't make sense to me.
So
That's all
what you're saying is it doesn't make sense to you.
What doesn't make sense is that no one told Mid-America that 2 of the people on their list had passed away. You know, yes, they said that there was no activity, that's what they told me, and so, but they don't know they died. You know.
So what's your level of experience?
Hold on, between you two, give me just a second, So let's get this out of the way, let's just get the policy portion out of that.
Okay, I'm good with it.
Okay, and then we wanna have some discussion on that, or maybe agendize that for a later
I
time.
don't really wanna any more discussion on it, I just wanted to make that
Okay.
point. I didn't know who was in charge of it, but now Hank says he is.
Okay, so with that said, I would like to make a motion to adopt the changes submitted by staff for policy 2381.
I second it.
Okay. Public comment. Any public comment there, Hank?
None here.
Okey dokey, coming back, any more for discussion? Nope, roll call vote, please.
Vice President Bell,
Yes.
Treasurer Pruitt,
Yes.
Director Thompson,
No.
Director Foster,
Yes,
President Dowling.
Yes.
4 to 1, the motion carries.
Yep. moving along. And then, our third item, this is right, yeah, this one, okay. Director Foster's request to revise board policy 2000. Section, specifically section 2000.30. Recommended action is agree on this revision and direct staff accordingly.
Yeah, what the 2000.30 is it says whenever the agreement of an employment established between the general manager and the board of directors is in conflict with any district policy, said agreement of employment shall prevail. That's illegal. So I have the attachments 29 in your agenda packet and also 30 will explain the laws. And basically, the law says in governance 661,612.50 basically says that the implementation of the policies is, well, that's at the very bottom, 61051A.
Which page are you on?
Well, I think it should be in your board packet 30. Isn't it?
Okay, so 30, okay, that's where I was on 29.
Okay, it says the implementation of the policies established by the board of directors for the operation of. Well, anyway, what it says is that the policies are what runs the district, made by the board. And then the general manager is responsible for following them. That was that one. Then on page 29 of your packet, it says California law explicitly states that the board of directors establishes the policies for a special district and the general manager is responsible for the implementation of those policies. Now, I think any board that has ever approved, I hope this has never happened, approves of some kind of policy, something in the general manager's contract or whatever, that supersedes our policy, that's irresponsible by the board. And I hope that hasn't happened. I don't know if that's anything that we have, that is that. But the fact is, this is illegal and I'd like it scratched off of the 2000.
Okie dokie. Roger. Mark?
So thank you. I did see you put a lot of submissions in here, quoting some law that doesn't apply to the Marshall Public Utility District. That's in a different section of the law. Notwithstanding that the error there, I expect that most of the things that are in there that you have on this section are in very similar section that does apply to us. So notwithstanding that, though, I look and I see that if you make an agreement with the board, and the board makes the agreement with the general manager, the board makes that decision. So the board, in making that decision, whether it violated some other policy or not, they just made a new policy that they have agreed on, because that's what boards do, is they make policy. So at that time, whatever agreement that was made, if it disagreed with some other policy, it is specifically usurped it here. That would be one thought. The other thing that I really wanted to say here is that a number of our policies are not just statements of something that's new, that's specific to just us. We were talking earlier about 50/20. And in there are a fair number of items that are in there really because it has to do with the Brown Act. It has to do with posting agendas. What kind of time frame can you do with it? What kind of things can you talk about? What are closed sessions about? So that's not us making the policy. That's merely restating what the law is. Well, why would we do that? Well, I know why we did it in my company, and I think it's the same thing. Is you don't want to have to go looking through tomes on the shelf of what law applies. Here we have it. We've extracted it. We say in that 50/20, here's the kind of time frames you have to do your meetings in, you have to do your postings. That, I think, is just restating the law. And I think that that's what this one is doing too. It's just re-putting the law down here as we would look at it. And why would I say that? Because there's also contract law. And we don't really do an awful lot with contract, but this is the contract. And so from that point of view, I would also expect that the contract supersedes this. But we actually have someone in here that I think we should ask that question of, since he is here, and hopefully he's ready after we're talking about it. And so somewhere, whether you start
Mhm.
now with me or at the end,
We'll go
I think
through.
we ought to hear from Vance.
Yes, we'll go through and then we'll get to that. Ron?
Yes, because actually that was in the contract at the end, that this would supersede. Not this, but in the contract. That it would supersede any policy
Are you done?
in state law. I believe it is state law. But
We'll find
Is
out.
what state law?
that a contract would supersede a policy. If it was signed,
I mean, it depends on the.
well, it depends on the severity of it, right? So,
Oh, I'm just saying, that's illegal, that's all I'm saying, it is. It's
So-
illegal.
With that said, I think whether it's illegal or not, I'm not quite sure, but the way it reads, in my opinion, said agreement of employment shall prevail, so if it, but from what I do know, and what I have done research on, a contract shouldn't be made in conflict with a board policy.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Right, so then once the contract's made and then signed, and then I also think with contract law, and this is just for my research, because I'm not Vance. And I'm not a lawyer, I didn't go to law school and I didn't do all that stuff. But once a contract's signed, then that, from that like policy going forward, like, so if, like, say Hank's contract was signed in 24, whatever the board policy was at that time, right? And then it's supposed to be that going forward, from that time, because then we could come back,
well,
if this was there, we could be able to, like, say we hired Hank at $500,000 a year. Well, and then he signs his contract, and then we want to go back to policy and say, well, actually, the next year, good, we're gonna do it for $100,000. You already signed the contract, so that would be a little messed up. So with what I've seen, maybe not a total X-nay of this whole section, but definitely an amendment to it. So with that said, Vance, what's your
Yeah.
take on this?
So, I view that section as 2000.30 as really kind of being, creating an exception to the rule that all of these policies are going to apply to all employees. So that section 2000 covers wages and vacation accruals and benefits for all employees. But I don't know when that section 2000.30 was created, but my assumption was at some point somebody said, wait, our general manager we should be able to negotiate with our general manager something different than what we pay to every single other employee. And probably somebody at that time said, well, we have a board policy, which we can't deviate from unless we have some language that says a separate contract can be negotiated, which will govern in the case if there's a difference in terms. So that's how I read that 2000.30 is essentially, it says the board policy applies unless the situation where the contract differs, and then that GM contract will. Again, that's how I assume that's how it came about. Chase is right in that you can't adopt a board policy which violates the GM contract. You would be in breach of a contract there. So I would tend to agree with Chase that an amendment to that section, in the Chase's example, wouldn't want to be able to change something in the contract by way of changing board policy. That wouldn't be appropriate, or that would be a breach of the contract. So I think an amendment is appropriate. We did look through the contract and see where there are provisions that are different from the board policy. And really, all of it is related to basically benefits. And some of it, the benefits are better for Hank, and in some cases, they're not as good for Hank, for whatever reason. So I think an amendment makes sense, and making it clear that we could not, putting in board policy that we could not negotiate something in a GM contract. And I would use an extreme example where the GM negotiates that he gets to appoint the president. Well, that wouldn't be appropriate, right? We shouldn't give that authority. So let's perhaps altering 20.30 to say, yes, we negotiate separately for the GM contract to provide for wages and benefits and all of those kinds of things. But the rest of the board policy still applies and can't be violated.
I have,
Wouldn't that be, wouldn't this, 2030 be in conflict with, 50/40? As far as approval or rejection of any proposal which committee fund or not, approval or rejection of any contract or expenditure. Wouldn't that be in conflict with that? With
Is that
40/50?
but yeah, but if that's not in Hank's contract, it won't matter.
Well, I'm not talking about his contract.
Oh,
I'm talking about any other thing you do that seems to me that would be conflicting against this one.
I'm not sure I follow the question.
Well, there's whenever the agreement of employment established between the general manager and the board of directors. And it also says right here, on 50/40, .14, approval or rejection of any contract or expenditure.
So the way I would read that is that in 50/40, it says the board has the authority to do the contract. And that's what this is saying too.
yeah, it's a different contract, but that's a contract for, like Alice said.
Employment, right?
Yeah.
Employment.
So, what I've come up with, just kind of in my understanding of it, I think, and this is just my thing here, so, whenever the agreement of, it would be to amend so actually, just to make this quick and simple, I would like to make a motion to amend section 2000.30 to say whenever the agreement of employment established between the general manager and the board of directors is in conflict with policy section 2000, said agreement of employment shall prevail.
So you wanna do away with any district policy?
Yeah, that doesn't even make sense to me.
Well, and the reason why Vance is what Vance just stated, and this is the reason why I say it's that way. What Vance just stated is they made this policy so that,
I want to make one comment. We don't know when this policy is done. It
yeah, we
is-
have no idea. I
We
don't-
have no idea.
Yeah,
And
So-
that's concerning to me too. Where in the world did it come from?
yeah, I don't know.
This is dated today,
This one is, yes, but it's been there for a while, going back.
well, I'm sure it's probably.
But
over 40.
what I'm saying is, so the reason why, and this is for future board, contracts, because Hank's already signed his contract, right? We can't go back and amend his contract or make policy to amend.
No, that's what we just discussed earlier today.
So what, either side, okay, with that said, in future contract, right? If we say this, policy section 2000, so it's limiting the only area that way, so, like their benefits and stuff like that, so we can attract general managers in the future that wanna have, certain benefits that aren't exactly the same as the rank and file employees around here, so, you see what I'm saying? So that's where that would, cause that section 2000 is the employee section. Employee, it's not it's the employee. Law
Yeah,
section.
yeah, it talks about wages and benefits. And
Yeah, and all that stuff, so, that's where, if. Hank or somebody else wants to say, hey, yeah, I want, we only accrue, and I don't know what it is, our employees only accrue. A half a day per pay period, every 2 weeks, well, I wanna accrue a full day per pay period every 2 weeks. But in policy, it says it, so we can't do that, sorry, so then we're gonna lose out on future general managers in that case. That's why I'm stating it this way.
I want to delete it, that's all. That's
I
all.
would agree with myself,
Yeah, I would too.
because most contracts have that
Well, and then
employment contract.
if it was deleted, what would be the ramifications there?
So if that section's deleted, then you have a conflict between what's provided for all of those terms. Vacation is the one that stuck out to me. What's provided to employees for vacation between what's in board policy and what's in the GM contract. Then the board would have to decide, are you going to follow policy or are you going to follow the GM contract? If you follow policy, you are now in breach of the GM contract, which is not okay. Has repercussions there. Or you follow the terms of the contract and you can be believed to be in breach of the board policy. So, because you have two different rules that apply to the exact same situation, and you can't comply with both of them simultaneously.
So would it be better to keep it or to lose it?
So, from my perspective, the worst thing you could do would be to amend or to delete it altogether. Because now you have a conflict and we don't really have a good way to resolve that conflict. Chase's suggestion makes sense to say, hey, if there are situations where it's probably not appropriate for a GM contract to deviate from the board policy. The GM contract should focus on wages and benefits and terms of employment. The board policy is going to cover a lot of other things way beyond that. That would not be appropriate to negotiate in a GM contract and should be done through change in board policy. So by having some parameters over where a GM contract can differ and where it can't is an appropriate middle ground. But I would say the only two, because I think Rodney had said it's better to keep it or drop it, delete it. The far better option there would be to keep it. But a possible way to accomplish at least a big part of the what I understand to be part of the concern would be as Chase suggested.
So
So what was your wording again?
My wording was, because I still have a motion out there on the
And I'll
floor.
second.
Okay, thank you, Mark. And the wording was, Ron, whenever the agreement,
Just get to the directors is in conflict with.
yeah, okay, so the last bit of it, the board of directors is in conflict with policy section 2000. Said agreement of employment shall prevail.
So am I understanding from what Ben said that he thinks it's appropriate to amend it because there's already a conflict in Hank's current contract? No, that's not what you're saying on the vacation issue?
No, what I'm saying is, well,
If we
You just
deleted it altogether, there'd be
Yeah,
a conflict.
yeah, and it was a conflict with the vacation, that's the conflict there is his vacation in the contract?
yeah, and I wouldn't, if it weren't for section 2000.30, I would say it's a conflict. But because of section 2000.30, it resolves the conflict, right? It tells us
Oh, I see what you're.
what we're supposed to do when there is a difference. There is a difference, so therefore we go. So and conflict, you know,
Okay, that's okay, I
difference,
understand,
conflict, I mean, similar words, but they can.
Yeah. okay.
Okay, so now we have a second, can we get public comment? Anything there, Hank?
None.
All right, coming back, any more?
No, I'm done.
Okay,
So I would suggest, Chase, perhaps we draft the revised language and circulate it so that we have it exactly written out.
the way everybody
yeah.
needs to understand it.
Right,
Okay, what would be the way we want to do that?
it would have to be brought back at the next.
Okay, so this would be the. So we wouldn't be approving it at this point?
I mean, yeah, that would be my suggestion. I think it would be better to be sure that we sit down and iron out the details of exactly, you know, one, make sure that it's not going to violate the existing contract, make sure we're not missing something else that needs to be excluded, just fully understand the.
Fully understand.
Impact of the change.
Okay, so should I withdraw my motion then?
Just either
Yeah.
withdraw or modify it to say, come back at the next meeting with this wording.
I have one more comment about it.
All right,
Then I'm gonna withdraw that motion.
Huh?
I'm gonna withdraw that motion.
Okay, well, let me say this anyway. 50-40-15. Approval or rejection of any proposal which commits district funds or facility including employment and dismissal of personnel. Now, that 2000 doesn't conflict with that?
Let me pull up 50-40.
50-40-15. And then you have above that 14, approval or rejection of any contract or expenditure.
so Hank, while he's looking that up, this says that we have the authority to do that. We have the authority to approve or reject contracts, and that's what we have done. So that's just saying that we can,
Just keep it.
so that's not.
That's not even pertinent in that.
No, no. Says we can do it.
There it is.
Dan, you got that? Or is our internet connection here?
Yeah, I've got it, 50/40. So Ron, give me the subsection again.
15.
Yeah, not a conflict. That section just provides that the board, actions by the board include but are not limited to. 15 is approval or rejection of any proposal which commits district funds,
Yeah,
including employment and dismissal.
including employment and dismissal of personnel.
Right, so that gives the board the authority to enter into agreements and commit funds for employment.
Or reject.
Yeah, right, or reject.
So with that said,
With that. Since it's been removed and is settled with, if you go back to the 2030. How's that look with the 15?
I see them as
It's still personnel.
pretty different though. I read 15 to say, you can approve or reject any proposal which commits district funds, including employment. The district has already done that. It entered into the GM contract. So therefore it committed funds to that agreement.
Right.
50/40 is just saying we can do it.
Right.
We can enter into a
We
contract.
can reject them. Is that what it's saying?
Well, right, you can reject it, a new contract. But once a contract's been entered into,
Well,
It's
I understand that, but I just want clarification because I presented to you with a generic from PCWA. And you come back with a contract that we all agreed on, and then to come back with those one of the forced on. Boom, went right into it. Then it was passed. That's the one we never got to read.
So, okay. So we're gonna amend my motion would be, or not amend my motion, just I'm gonna make a motion, new one, since I went through the last one. To draft new policy to be heard, or to amend policy 2030 to be heard at the February meeting. To state whenever the agreement of the employment established between the general manager and the board of directors is in conflict, policy section 2000. With policy section 2000, said agreement of employment shall prevail. But does that sound about correct?
Yeah.
Hank, can you read that back to me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Draft amendment, and I wrote the time down, I'll listen.
Okay, want me to say it again?
Yeah,
Okay, to draft amendment to policy 2000.30 to state whenever the agreement of employment established between the general manager and the board of directors
Let me catch
is.
up.
Okay.
To state that whenever,
Oh.
Can I help you here?
Yes, please.
Can you just, maybe you say to modify section 30 to remove the words, or to substitute the words, any district policy for policy section 2000. That's all you're doing.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly.
Putting those-
Yep. So not any district policy, just, yeah, that's exactly it. Thank you, Mark, for that.
so
That was a struggle.
read that back to me.
Okay, so how did you state it, Mark?
Amend policy 2030.
Amend policy 2030 to replace the wording any district policy with policy section 2000. There, I think we got it right that time. That wasn't so wordy and lengthy. Okay, now do we,
You got it now?
I think so.
I second.
Other comment?
Let me read it back.
Okay.
Draft amendment to policy 2000.3. To replace any district policy with policy 2000.
Policy section 2000.
Draft amendment to policy 2023-0 to replace any district policy with policy section 2000.
Yes.
Okay, motion by President Dowling, A second by Vice President Bell.
No public comment, right? There's nothing on there. I already looked at them, but there's nothing on the computer, Nate?
No.
Okay, perfect. All right, roll call. Please.
Did I vote or was it a draw?
Vice President Bell.
They're gonna bring it back next month.
Yeah, yes.
So we vote on bringing it back?
Treasurer Pruitt.
Yes.
Director Thompson.
No.
Director Foster.
No, I want.
And President Dowling.
Yes.
Passes 3-2.
Down. And then now we're on to our discussion items. First up, general manager report, if you're done writing those minutes.
I am. The general manager report is in your packet. District staff held a safety meeting on December 11th. We talked about bloodborne pathogens, infections control and awareness. These are topics that are provided by our insurance company, and they say these are good topics for you to go over. So we get training materials from them, and we sit down and we have a meeting. Item number 2 here, I wanted to report to the board that the mosquito fire in 2022, when that was fully contained on October 22nd, 2022, I started attending meetings with Cal OES and FEMA. The purpose of attending those meetings was to seek reimbursement for some of the unusual costs that we had during the fire. We were 24 hours in the plant, treating a lot of water. It was a really difficult time. Interesting though, it held. The system held as hard as we pushed it, and I don't know that it's ever been pushed that hard before. Committed staff, and we made it through. No breaks, no contamination, no boil orders, nothing. This staff did it, right? Well, I attended a few meetings, and I just learned in late November that we've finally been approved for reimbursement. The total reimbursement will be $32,594. We've received a portion of that. We've received the Cal OES, Office of Emergency Services. We've received that check. We're waiting now for the federal FEMA check. That'll be coming in soon. If you can relate, the fire was in 22 and we're just receiving the funds now. So what does soon mean? I don't know. But that was I think a good thing. Kind of signals sticking to it, putting the district first. Kind of a mentality that this staff has for our water district. A report on the finance manager advertisements. It was advertised pursuant to board direction on December 11th. It was advertised California Special District Association website, Auburn Journal, Forest Hill Messenger, Indeed, and the Municipal Management Association of California. The board secretary position, the board revised the secretary recruitment advertisement that was posted per board direction on the Forest Hill Messenger beginning December 11th with a period extending through January 2nd. We are currently in the process of hiring 2 distribution operators, water treatment plant and distribution operators. We have 1 vacancy and 1 vacancy coming up, and so we're in the process of replacing those positions. I noted here because there's been some confusion, and I wanted to make it straight. The staff circulates the bank statements to the entire board every month. I'm going to stop that process because it doesn't seem to be working. And so it's additional steps in the month that we can eliminate. The monthly financial statement circulated to the board for review for November. That statement has everything in it. It has the bank balances, every transaction we do. It has the year to date, the profit loss statement. All the information that anybody could ever want about the district is all contained in that report. It's also in the board packet that's circulated to the public. completed the employee evaluations. Each year we do employee evaluations. We sit down with a formal little meeting and I talk to each employee regarding goals and progress for the next year. The finance manager position was advertised in the Auburn Journal. So that's been taken care of. And then the final list is accounting services provided by LSL. There's a lot of things in there, but I want to take a second to tell the board that this staff, they pour their heart and soul into this, and the behavior we see here is really difficult. You know, this is their livelihoods. They work their butts off. No violations, no boil orders. We're doing a pretty good job. And it's discouraging to me. I just want to let the board know that just to have this fighting and trying to get to me, it's really not good leadership. And that's my opinion.
What does that have to do with the employee?
That's my report.
Oh, well, okay, so I do have some, Chase, you told me that getting back to the secretary position that was posted in the messenger.
Mhm.
You agree with me that it was wrong, that what was posted was incorrect.
What we voted on in November and what was there, I believe was incorrect, yes.
Yeah, but then we talked again afterwards, and then the one that you revised, I didn't get a chance to see it because I was not home. And you wanted me to edit it, and I brought it up late after you had submitted it. It was wrong as well.
Oh, was it?
Yes, and you said, okay, we'll talk about it later. And what the
What
message?
was, because it was hiring the board secretary.
Yes, and that, where's the, darn it, I should have had it here with me. But it's
Excuse me.
really
You
simple.
guys are all.
No,
bad.
it's supposed to, no, it's not off topic because he brought it, Hank brought it up.
It's his report.
It was only, taking the minutes
Well,
and
so,
transcribing, and that is it. It's not a clerk job. And you have it in there as a clerk job, that is not what we voted on.
here, we'll get into that in the discussion item next. So director discussion items.
Oh, number 3?
Well, it's, the
Yeah,
next is director
that's
discussion.
good.
item. So I was going to, state,
Well, I
Yeah.
have something for number 2 then.
Yeah, so do I.
yeah, the remarks and reports by directors, that's what we're getting into, not number 3. And,
Yeah, but I do have something on a different.
well, and I guess number 3 would be there too, but,
Yeah.
but I
have
guess we can
something-
go through board of directors, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and we'll start with Roger,
Oh, okay.
Mark,
Yes, comment first back on the general manager's report. You know, while I want to reiterate what Hank said, that was awesome performance by staff. And they continually perform, things continue to work. We have issues here and there, but they fix it, but it's awesome. Thank you very much. But also, you know, he has a little blurb in here on the amount of money that has come in over and above fees. The specific one was 32.5K or so, which is pretty good, but that kind of brings the total to 5 million since Hank's employment. That's an average of about $416,000 a year. That's more than we paid a man. So it's awesome that he in essence brings up enough money to get that much done within the district, that we don't have to raise rates for. And then, for my own situation here, there was a class offered that I've signed up for this next, month. It's actually just next week. It's a webinar on the Brown Act changes. There are a lot of things that they proposed changing on the Brown Act during this last year. It got to be so frustrating to try and keep up track of what was going to happen, what wasn't going to happen. This class was offered. This is through CSDA. So I'm going to attend that webinar. That's it.
all right, Ron,
Yes, I have a few. On number 8 that you referenced, Hank. Would you tell me the name of all the bank accounts we have? I know there's Columbia, and that holds our long-term debt. We have Wells Fargo checking. What else?
There's an account with Placer County. There's a
I
small
want to talk
account.
about investments, I don't care about that. What I'm talking about is bank account.
The only bank account we have is Wells Fargo.
Not for- Because what happened to Bank of Merchant Services?
Bank of
We are
Merchant
depositing money.
Services.
What do they do? What is their goal? What do they do?
They're a credit card processing sweep account. When you're looking at the bank statements, Ron,
Well,
you're looking at deposits.
Well, what I'm saying is, right here you say, the report included all bank account balances. It does not. It doesn't state anything about which bank had what. And why are we showing in the Columbia, the Umpqua Bank, why are we continually showing $7,250?
Because that's what's in
It's
the
just sitting
account.
there. I know what it is. But why aren't we showing the balance?
What is
It's
the
the
balance?
long-term balance. It's not in there.
Oh, it's
This
it's in
is
there.
inaccurate in all bank accounts. Or,
Okay, well, that's your report, so.
show me.
Look on page 8, there's the Wells Fargo, the local agency investment fund, and the Umpqua savings account. Umpqua is now Columbia.
I know it's called Columbia, but it says Umpqua on there, but I don't care what it says. I know what it is.
So there they are, they're right on page 8.
I'm on page 8,
Mhm.
and where is Wells Fargo checking?
4th line, 5th line down,
Okay. Umpqua. And where is Bank of Merchant Services?
we don't have an account with Bank of Merchant Services.
Well, how come last month there was deposits of 2,000, 3,400?
Because they're our credit card processing center, when people pay
They were
with credit
deposited.
card.
They were deposited.
Exactly,
And so.
it's
you
money
get-
coming into us, not out
So you get
from our account.
So you get transfers after you deposit, when they do it, they send you a transfer back?
The person pays by a credit card, it goes to the credit card processor, and then it comes into our bank account, not out of, into our bank account
I
from,
mean, where is that listed?
it says right on the account statement that you've been reading, it says deposits, that means money coming in.
It's under what? Accounts receivables?
It is accounts receivable, yes. But on the bank statements that you're reading,
I'm not reading any bank statements in here.
the bank statements that I forward to you, that is a deposit, so bank, whatever the name of the bank is, that's the processing
Bank of
center,
Merchant Service.
right? That's the one that you mentioned a while ago that money was going to that bank, money doesn't go to
It
that
says
bank.
deposits.
It's deposits, exactly, it's deposits into our
It's
account,
going to it.
no, it's not,
What is it?
You're reading it backwards. You're reading it backwards. It's a deposit, it's for people paying their water bills.
Where does that money go?
It goes into the bank account, it goes into the Wells Fargo account.
So it's a deposit.
It's a deposit, exactly. Yes, you have it right. It's a deposit.
It's a
You understand what a
to
deposit
Bank of
is?
Merchant Services, and from there, we don't say any transfer, how much goes into.
It all comes into the bank. The deposit is money coming into our bank account.
What I'm arguing about is, I would like the board to see full checking statements, credit card statements. Bank of Merchant Services. Umpqua, I would like to see those every month.
And we don't have an
right,
account with
and
Bank
the
of
board
Merchant
member
Services.
is managing
You know,
function, we have the right to see those. And I've been trying for 3 years. to get
I
to see
forward
them.
every bank statement. I have for the last 3 years, every bank statement to you, Ron.
I've
Every
been
bank statement.
getting it. Please stop. No,
I hear you. I hear you. It's not working, so I'm not gonna do it anymore.
okay.
what, Diane?
Yeah, I went to the California State Controller's Office. I mean, I didn't go there. I went on the website. For 2023, about the, and it has a list of the salaries of our employees, but that wasn't what I was interested in. What I noticed on this list is that there is an extra person on this list, a chief operator, that is not on our policy 2300. which is all the employees of our district that run our district. And yet and then there's the chief operator, there's no chief operator on this. And I want to know where, I mean, I don't get it. We were hiring somebody, but it's not a person on this list, the 2,300. Do you understand what I'm saying? Here's the thing that we.
Yeah, closure.
Okay, and this comes from the state controller's office, and it has a list of, all the employees here. And in addition, a chief operator, and I wanna know, who is the chief operator, and why, and it's not on the policy 2390 compensation grade and range chart either. This position doesn't exist in our book, in our policy book, it doesn't exist. But I think Hank's got him out there somewhere, am I right? Is he working for us?
So we're required to have a chief operator. In April of 2023, our chief operator left. We did not have staff on board, and we're potentially in violation of the drinking water standards. So I hired a consultant as a chief operator. He's a licensed T5, which we're required to have a T3 or higher. And he has been our chief operator since the retirement our chief operator left in 2023.
Down in Middleton?
Mhm.
But why?
No,
No.
not Middleton.
No, no.
What, I don't get it though, but why isn't he on this list? On our board policy? It's not here, there's no, it's like,
So there's a hierarchy. The state of California says we must have a chief operator. We were without a chief operator. I hired one.
why isn't it on this, not on this list?
Can I give you?
Because, and I'm gonna answer that why it's not on that list, because the policy hasn't been amended to add that to the list. Now,
So
what
for years,
I'm guessing, that's what I'm guessing. So why haven't we, you know what, that's a good thing that this
3
board,
years.
that's what this board should probably do, is do that, is put that on the list. Wouldn't you think that's a good idea?
Sure.
So who was your chief before?
On Mills.
Ronnie Mills, Nosewheelie. That's an inside joke. Anyway,
well, wait a minute, now, if this thing was, put together in 2014, this chart. And Hank says, well, it's the law of chief operator, was there some law passed after 2014? That, you know what I mean, you know what I'm saying,
well, it sounds like, Diane, to be totally honest, it wasn't included on that list. I think it's something that obviously that state law, and we can't buck state law. We've made that perfectly clear, right? So obviously, we need to update our board policy on that closure.
okay, so the chief operator is a state law that all districts have to have,
That's what it sounds like.
all right?
Is that correct, Hank?
All districts. I don't know what districts.
Water
All
districts?
Public water agencies.
All public water agencies.
Water system.
Water.
Must have a chief operator.
Okay, perfect.
So I have an alternate possibility for you, which is one of those other job descriptions that we do have that is on that chart. Somewhere in it says perform the duties of chief operator.
Well, we have an operator supervisor, but he's not considered chief. I mean, I'm just asking.
Well, that's one of those things, I'm like, I think we need to update our policies on that section.
Okay, all right, yeah, that's all I have.
So who was that now then?
Vince Longley is the chief operator for the district.
Okay. He's full time, right?
No,
He's part time.
he is part-time.
Okay, and then, I would just like to state that, I know it just out there, this board does seem a little divided, right? Everybody feels the tension. You could say, cut it with a butter knife, hot butter. Anyways, me personally, I'm sorry if the staff feels, the tension and doesn't feel like it's a great working area, but in the way public systems work, you're not gonna get everybody the degrees all the time. And I just want the public to know that. And so our job as a board is to, maybe make policy and run meetings to the effect that, people can disagree in an orderly fashion. And people can disagree with passion too. But let's not make it to where it's, disagreeable to everybody else, and let's actually make it to where it's moving forward. So that's my comment on that.
Well, can I make a comment on that, Tommy? I wanna know, I mean, I'm not aware that any of us have attacked the staff. I'm not aware of that. If I have, let me know, because I'm not aware. I mean, I'm concerned about our general managers managing, but that doesn't affect the people on the staff. I don't have anything negative about the people on the staff at all.
Thank you.
Nothing.
So with that said, update on the board, update by board on process to hire a board secretary. So, with that said, we went through, the meeting last meeting and, redid the ad. And so we did not get, we did not get a good response from that. So we're gonna put it out again, just because we got one response and it was from out of the area.
Well, I get why you wouldn't get a response. It's inaccurate. Can I read it? This is what you posted. This is what you posted.
Yeah.
When I talked about this on the phone and I said, okay, some of these things are not accurate. It's, for example, that's posted in the messenger. It says that the person, the secretary, this one that we want to hire, prepare and post meeting agendas. No, she didn't. You can tell, or he, that wasn't in what we agreed on. Maintain official district records? No. Prepare correspondence and administrative documents? No. And then upgrade agendas and minutes to the FPUD website? We didn't agree on any of that. That is not what we agreed on. It was a person that takes the minutes, transcribes them for us. That was it.
So, and that's all, we're gonna do cut and dry like that, because my understanding of it was, and that would be that job description, but that is what it is.
But we have to go with what we agreed to and what we voted on. And
You're-
this is
you're
not what
absolutely
we
right.
voted on.
You're absolutely
If
right.
that was
In November.
250 for the reading.
Oh, yeah,
No,
that.
we didn't vote on that.
Well,
I don't think we voted on that part, I'm gonna have to go back and look at that again, because right now, I don't think we actually voted
But
on
that's what we
it.
agreed to, search that area.
We didn't, yeah, we'll have to go back and look at that again, and I'll go back and look at those minutes again to
It
see if.
turn into it,
But
to
just wanted to let everybody know that we're extending the board secretary, because we didn't get,
Yeah, but are you going to change this though?
we'll take it into consideration, yes.
What do you mean? This is against what we voted on.
Yeah, well, because I gotta go back and look at what we voted on again, exactly, and I'll get a better perspective of it.
Can you send it to me? So
Yes.
that okay, I can give it to you. You want it?
Yeah, no, that, I have it somewhere, and, cause I have it there, but
Well, I'll take it.
And
'cause
yeah,
that's the
you
only
can,
one I have.
take that. So anyways, just letting everybody know that that's extending, so until we can get a good enough response back.
But you can understand why nobody would respond when you've got all this stuff. You're looking for a clerk here.
you're looking for a stenographer,
Yeah, I mean,
But
and
I thought that was describing that.
no, it's.
My apologies.
pure and simple.
So-
They can do shorthand or listen to the video.
Like I said, I'll go back and listen to November's meeting and we'll get it right.
And you might have a better response if you put it the way we planned on it. I mean, yeah, exactly. Something.
Well, now, like I said, I'll go back and listen to November's meeting and we'll get it correct. Anyways, with that said, future agenda items. We already have the items that were pushed forward. And as of right now, there are none. And, with that said, meeting adjourned. Not too bad.